What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Now, I haven't done a meal prep in a long time, so today we are going to do a very easy, simple, protein-packed meal prep for 3 different meals that you can do. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video because I have some really good tips that I'm gonna add on top of this, but we're just gonna jump right into it. All right, so we're gonna knock out the hardest recipe first, which really isn't that hard in the first place, but it's the hardest one of the 3. So what you're gonna need to do with this is you're gonna need to cook up a big batch of quinoa or some other sort of grain that you like, or a mix of different grains, right? If you wanna do like quinoa and like barley mix or something like that. But basically, make a big pot of it, and then you can store away that big pot, so it doesn't matter how much you actually make a big amount of it and store the rest of it in the fridge for later use. You're also gonna need some chickpeas, or if you wanna do pinto beans or black beans, go ahead and cook that up or crack open a can and strain them. And then we're gonna address the greens, right? You need to have some veggies per meal, so I'm gonna use some kale. I'm gonna wash it up, I'm gonna massage it. That makes the kale less bitter, I think. I'm pretty new to kale. I'm honestly like trying to get more into it. But yeah, you wanna squeeze it around a bunch until it gets a little bit more loose. And then I've also been doing this thing where I use sprouts. So it can be radish sprouts, it can be alfalfa sprouts. Right now I'm using broccoli sprouts. You're just gonna take a big handful of it. You're gonna put the kale and the sprouts in a frying pan. And you're gonna use just a little bit of veggie broth. It's up to you how salty you want it to be. Okay, so now you have all of your cooked ingredients ready. Now you're just gonna take 1 cup of quinoa, you're gonna take 1 cup of the chickpeas, mix those together, then you're gonna add whatever sauce you wanna use. Right now I'm gonna use Annie's barbecue sweet and spicy sauce, which is so gosh damn good. I'm gonna use 4 tablespoons of this, and again, you can use any sauce that you want. You can also use however much you wanna use, depending on how much sodium you like in your food. Mix that up, and then that is gonna go straight into the meal prep container. To get some extra healthy fats and also some healthy protein, you're going to use 3 tablespoons of hemp hearts. You could also use flaxseed or chia seeds. You could also use more or less, again, of that. Put that on top of the cooked mixture of quinoa and chickpeas. And then on the side of that, you're just gonna put the kale and the sprouts, and there you have it. Like a very super simple meal to do, and this is the hardest one. Okay, moving on to meal number 2. Now, that last one was the hardest one, right? This one is gonna blow your mind how easy and simple it is, but it's really tasty, right? So what you are going to need to do is get some potatoes, whether that be russet potatoes or sweet potatoes, or whatever type of potato you wanna use. I'm using baby creamer potatoes, so just like those little tiny ones. I'm cutting those in half. You can basically use whatever potato and cut it into the same amount of, like the same size of chunks. I'm just gonna lay that out on a cooking sheet, and I'm gonna put that in the oven at 420 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 minutes. You could also use an air fryer, that'll make it way faster, but just put this in the oven and let it sit while you work on whatever else you're gonna do, maybe some of the other meal preps from this video. And so while that's cooking in the oven, you're gonna take 2 cups of broccoli and cook it in a frying pan. Now you can replace this with whatever green you want to, include, or you can mix this with different things. I'm also gonna add a yellow bell pepper in there just for some extra color and just for some extra flavor. We're just gonna cook this down for, I'd say about 4 or 5 minutes. Okay, I wasn't lying when I said that this recipe is super simple. When the potatoes come out, you're just gonna let them cool, put them in the meal prep container. You're gonna take 1 cup of your favorite vegetarian vegan baked beans. So I use Bush's vegetarian baked beans, which are actually vegan. But you're gonna take a scoop of that, put that on top of the potatoes or on the side of the potatoes, and then on the other side of the potatoes, then you're gonna put your veggie. I know this sounds really simple, and I know it probably doesn't sound super, I guess, normal, but if you've never tried having potatoes and baked beans, it is so freaking good. All right, now we're gonna move on to our 3rd recipe here, and I tend to make my meal preps pretty savory and salty flavored stuff. I don't generally do a lot of sweet stuff, so that is why I wanted to do this recipe for those of you who have a little bit of a sweet tooth. We're gonna do some protein balls, protein power-packed snack balls. I don't know what they're called. They're really freaking good. What you are going to need is 1 cup of dates, which is somewhere around like 10 to 12 dates. Make sure that they are pitted, otherwise your life is gonna suck. You're also going to need 2/3 of a cup of oats, so that can be quick oats or it can be steel cut oats, whatever kind of oats you have. You're also going to need 3 to 4 tablespoons of tahini or whatever nut butter that you have. So it could just be peanut butter or almond butter, whatever. And you're gonna put that in a blender with 1 scoop of protein. I'm using VivoLife protein and I'm using the vanilla flavor. But again, whatever flavor is gonna kind of tickle your fancy, put that in the blender with it. Then finally, you're gonna need 3 tablespoons of soy milk or whatever nut milk that you wanna use. And you're gonna blend that in the blender until it's this nice thick, like dough kind of thick mixture, right? Although if it is too thick, you can just add a little bit more soy milk. That way you can kind of get it to actually mix if your blender is having a hard time. Also, if you have a food processor, it makes it way easier. I don't. That's something I want for Christmas. Huh? Family, give me that. Okay, this recipe is pretty much done right here. So what you're gonna do next is you're just gonna take out that doughy mixture out of the blender, and we're going to take 2 to 3 tablespoons of carob chips or whatever vegan chocolate chip that you want to use. We're gonna put that in the dough as we roll these into balls. That way we have little chunks in there. Chunks always make things way better. And then we're going to lay out 3 tablespoons of coconut flakes and just roll the balls in those coconut flakes, and that is it. Each of the balls is done once it's completely covered in coconut flakes. This is gonna make a pretty decent amount of balls. This is gonna make something like 10 to 12 of these little balls. So you're gonna take half of these and put them in your meal prep container. So this is actually making 2 servings, unlike the other, 2 meal preps, which were making 1 serving each. This recipe is so simple, but it is absolutely addicting. So if you need to, you can kind of rearrange the recipe. If there's too much fat in it and you don't want to eat that much fat, you can definitely use less nut butter. You can use more dates, or you can change it around however you want. This is seriously like the simplest recipe to modify. Fool around with it on your own and try to figure out what fits best for you. All right, there you have it. Those are 3 different meals that you can prep and eat on the go. That way you don't have to figure out, something to eat while you're out at work. You don't have to go and buy something from a fast food place. You can have these things ready, which keeps you on task. You also have the macros and calories so that you can, make sure that you are eating according to your diet if you are dieting or if you're bulking or whatever it is. Now, the thing that I do want to add to this is that every time I do a meal prep, people say, those 3 meals, you shouldn't eat those every single day. That's not a full rounded diet. Exactly. I'm not telling you that these are your breakfast, lunch, and dinners. I'm just telling you these could replace any one of your meals for any day. And also, I only made one. It's just 1 serving of each one. That way, you can decide how much you want. If you want to eat this Monday through Friday for your lunch every single day, then you would just multiply the serving sizes by 5. So as you're making it, you would just make 5 cups of rice. That way you can use 1 cup in each meal prep container, or potatoes, if whatever it is that the recipe calls for, you just multiply it by 5. Definitely encourage you to take these, try them out, modify them so that they can be more the way that you like, to eat food, the palate that you have. As always, it'd be terrible if I didn't mention that I do have a recipe book. It's called Eat Vegan or Die Trying. You can use my discount code EVODD10 for 10% off of your order. And also, this is over 35 different vegan recipes that are super simple, high protein, the way that I like to cook. So if you like the meals that I make, that's definitely what you're gonna get in this book. And I think that's it. Another quick, simple, easy, protein-packed, fitness, healthy, other keyword meal prep video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you do try these meal preps, I would love to hear which ones you like in the comments below. I'd love to hear your review and your feedback. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big old thumbs up. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Team Beyond the Week, CT.
Lift heavy or die Myron, motherfucker.
Team Beyond the Week.